Hello again. My name is Joanna, aka Rare Chef. Today I'm doing a retake on the Chilli Rellenos. This is a Disney-inspired recipe that I came up with a while back. And first time around, I used Mix Quick, which is medical food. So it's not something that anybody can do. Mix Quick requires a doctor's prescription, as well as the bacon bits that I may have used in it also. So we have store-bought versions of those. Mix Quick wasn't really all that great anyway. But anyway, I'm on here. I have 3 poblano peppers that I'm going to be grilling just until they are bubbling enough to get so we can remove the skin. But I'm going to have to also put them in some Ziplocs to sweat for a few minutes. Right now, though, these are Madly Hadley bacon bits. They're replacing the Taste Connection ones that I used last time. These are still pretty low in protein for those who are on a low protein diet. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to measure out a third of a cup of the bacon bits. And the problem with the bacon bits is they're too sweet. They don't taste anything like bacon right now. So I'm hoping to change that. This company puts too much maple syrup in, and so whereas they are addicting, I did accidentally eat the whole bag before. Not right for this. So they do have a, if you like the heat, they do have a spicy and a flaming version also. Spicy was about as much as I can handle. When I was younger, maybe I might have been able to handle the flaming, but not anymore. But either way, they all contain a ton of maple syrup. So it's just maple syrup that they added cayenne pepper to spice them up. Kind of something I'm doing now, similar, but to get rid of the sweetness of them, I'm adding a pinch of citric acid to them. That's the bacon bits. I do want to measure this. I do want to weigh this also, just so I know how much. What the weight is on it. So I will need that. Do not limited space here with the grill and everything. But put that on, zero it out. Wait for it to count down. There we go. And so we're adding in 3 cups of the bacon bits. These are vegan bacon bits. I found them over at Whole Foods. I think that's the only place they carry them. They're listed on Walmart's website also, but I haven't seen them in store. Walmart said you might have to get them online. So To get rid of the sweet, you're going to add sour. Citric acid, very sour. This is what sours lemons. So, but this is a powder form of it. We're working with, just want a little tiny pinch of the citric acid because this stuff is very powerful. This I don't really need them for, but the other one I will. So I just want a little tiny pinch of the citric acid because this stuff is very powerful. And then I'm going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. It already has some sweet paprika, you just can't tell. That's how much maple syrup it has. I'll actually go half. So there's a 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. No baking required for this. I will have to, I mean, I'm mixing it with a liquid ingredients anyway, so a cheese dip, Final Kitchen's no queso cheese dip, and also some salsa verde. So there's that. And the lid on this, get it out of the way. Now I'm going to stick it on the baking sheet over here. We're not baking, we're just letting it sit for 5 minutes, but I want to have it on the baking sheet so it is flat. But the smoked paprika is what companies use to change bacon the reddish brown color. Liquid smoke is also often used for this. Okay, so we're going to set that aside, let that sit for another 5 minutes. And now I'm going to check on these guys, and we're going to flip them over. So, grab the plastic bags, so we'll need them next. Now unplugged, but it's still hot, and so it's still cooking. So, okay, I'm gonna put that down. Okay, get that out of the way. So that's one. And these are quart size, so it's And I think I may have forgotten to say, but you don't need oil for this. We are doing them dry because we're going to be breading them. And even though we're going to have to still pat them dry because they're going to be sweating. That's why they're in the Ziplocs. Gallon is probably easier to open though, while you have this in your hands. Okay. Well, actually not that fast. Normally I don't recommend doing that by hand. So last one. Now, these guys have a hidden skin that you don't normally see if you don't cook them. So that's why they're in the Ziplocs. They will be in here sweating for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to remove that skin and we're going to stuff them. So I am going to see how our bacon bits are doing. Much better. Okay. Probably could have even used a little bit more paprika. More of this paprika, but that's fine. Okay, back again. Now we're going to mix up our cheese sauce. So, the, let me do this. So, in this, I'm mixing in, is this the spicy, I kind of like the spicy Primal Kitchen no queso dip, but they do have it in a milder flavor also if you prefer that. This is an 11.5 ounce can, a jar of it. They all are, but I'm gonna dump this whole thing in because we're gonna use it. This is our main ingredient for the cheese sauce. And the stuff is pretty thick right now, but I'm gonna be, we'll be using a little salsa so that'll liquefy it some. So I am gonna add in some cornstarch. And we'll also be refrigerating it for a while. Last time I remember just, going off the dip, and it was so good. But again, that was medical food. I was using Cheese Wizard. And Cheese Wizard is no longer around, so that's another reason to redo these. Which is unfortunate because it was one of my favorites. Do that, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of salsa. In fact, I might, there's a lot of cheese dip here, I might go half. We'll see what this looks like. Yeah, that's plenty. I probably didn't need that much. 1/3 would have been fine for the amount here. And so 1/4 cup Argo cornstarch. Right now I am trying to use Bob's Red Mill for most of the stuff because they are local, and they're also pretty much easy for everybody to find, and they have everything. So I don't want half, I want 1/4. So our little guy, this should thicken up some in the fridge also. We'll have it in there for about 15 minutes. Mix it around, and then we'll add in the bacon, our bacon bits. So the bacon bits are by a company called Madly Hadley. Again, only available at Whole Foods, possibly online on Walmart's website right now. Get this really mixed in. I don't want the white showing from the cornstarch. Generally would mix it separately, but not in this case. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to add in the bacon bits. Parchment paper, because that's 28 grams of our seasoned breadcrumbs, of our seasoned bacon bits. Which I probably should have done a little bit more of. So this is going in the refrigerator for 15 minutes, and then we'll be stuffing. So I'm gonna have to actually grab a plate down too, because I will need this. But it just peels right off. You just pinch it with your fingers. You are going to have to seed them also, so we're going to be cutting into them. You're going to need toothpicks though, also to patch them once they're stuffed. I may have let them go a little bit too long in the cooling process. This is generally a lot easier. You want to be really careful that you don't tear them, because it's really easy to tear them. So take your time getting it off, because they will tear, but you're going to be cutting a hole in them anyway if you do. So just use it, because we got to get the seeds out of these guys. Unless you like it spicy, because they do get kind of spicy. But generally bigger peppers aren't that spicy. It's the little guys you gotta worry about. Here's that. These guys probably have a little bit more, but you're, if you can't get all the skin off, don't worry about it. But ideally it should be like this and smooth, not wrinkly. I think I waited a little bit too long this time. To get the skin off. They have I don't know if you see this, but they have a little thing at the top there with all the seeds. So that's where the majority of them hang out, but they will get down into the pepper if you're not careful. But all the seeds are attached to the stem. Take our cheese sauce and just stuff it. This doesn't get as thick as the cheese wizard did, but oh well. And it makes for a great dip. I think I did turn the last one into a dip. Curl this end up so it wants to go out the bottom. We don't want to overstuff either. I think that's another part with that one. Okay, I'm going to take a towel and grab the sauce off. And now I got the skin off of the peppers. I'm going to mix together some egg replacer. So this is this is the Bob's Red Mill egg replacer. And so you can use water also. I'm using oat milk, which is practically water, it's just flavored water. They just strain the oats out. So it's made by cooking rolled oats, and then you just strain out the water in a milk bag. So it's basically flavored water. With some flavorings in it. So we have, okay, so I'm gonna have to level these off, but this is the equivalent to 2 whole eggs. So we are putting in 3 tablespoons of the Bob's Red Mill egg replacer. And this is a gluten-free egg replacer also, so it's made with 4 ingredients. So, and I can tell you what those are in just a second. The one I remember is psyllium husk. But this is one of the milks that has to be cooked in order to make it. Same with rice milk. A lot of the nut milks you have to cook also in order to get the shell off because they stick too much. But that's that. Okay, so we want 6 tablespoons of some sort of a liquid, either water or if I'm using oat milk, or you can also use nut or seed milk. Any nut or seed milk will work. So. And you can use this with regular eggs too, and milk. So you don't have to use egg replacer if you don't want to, but this is because of the diet, and this is how I'm doing it. So. But because some people are allergic to eggs, well, eggs and nuts, that's another reason why we do this. Oops. Okay, there's that. In cornstarch, I was gonna mix cornstarch and tapioca starch, which but I didn't really, but I can't find my tapioca starch, so I'm gonna have to get more. But this will work. I'm gonna use starch or flour. And I don't want to use the measuring spoons for this. I'm gonna use a actual spoon if it goes faster. And I do have more cornstarch if I need it. Let's see what I can do with this. And it looks like I might need more cornstarch. So. Yeah, I had about almost exactly a cup, but see what we can do here. So this is cornstarch. This is Argo's cornstarch. I don't have Barbara Mills, but they is who I am pretty much exclusively working with on this. Okay, there's that. Next up, this is Aleia's breadcrumbs. These are gluten-free also. And again, we're using a couple of those. I don't expect it to need to redo this, but sometimes if you're doing a lot of breading, you are going to want to replace stuff. This is such a small thing that I'm proud of the Chilli Rellenos to bread here. But I need to mix up some more of the egg replacer. This time I thought of something. I actually used marine on this one, but and thought, well, the egg replacers normally don't taste like egg. They work like them, don't taste like it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to add in some black salt this time. Black salt does give it an eggy taste, and so you won't be able to tell that it's not egg if you're not, seeing it. So I'm not putting a whole lot in, but I am putting some, just like a pinch. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, that's right. It was a teaspoon and a half. We're mixing a teaspoon and a half of the egg replacer to 2 tablespoons of water. This is the so we're using it like like egg whites. Because we don't need the yolk. So for breading, anyway. So actually I'm using, so actually I could have used a tablespoon, but too late now. So I'm doing three teaspoons, and then I'll do 3/2. So it's actually 4.5 teaspoons. Or you can use a tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon, and because I'm using 3 eggs to cover, or 3 servings of this stuff to get the egg white mixture that I want. Okay, that's 3. Going over here, we're looking for the 1/2 teaspoon. Which is here. Got 3 of those in. Level them off. I've only used the black salt once, and that was with my breakfast casserole, which I can link. So that's why I don't think to use it very often. But it does come in both the rock form, and this is actually black salt. It's pink, it's Himalayan and black salt, but it's black and not pink. As it gives the illusion of, as it you can't really tell. But okay. So I don't need a whole lot of this stuff. fact, I'm gonna mix it in after, because we want actually, since I did 3, I'm gonna do 4 tablespoons of water. I didn't even think about that. Where? Oh, well, 6. I thought it was 6. It was actually 6 tablespoons. So it's 1.5 teaspoons to 2 tablespoons, and so I have 4.5 teaspoons. No. Yeah, 4.5. So to 6 tablespoons of water. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for about a minute before we start breading. Add in the black salt here. And it's gotten hot a little bit, but it's because it's been a while since I've used it. And unfortunately, I don't have a grinder, so hopefully this stuff breaks up some. Yeah, it looks like it's gone. It sure smells eggy. So the whites are what give it the structure. Use yolk for emulsifying and so. And also with the cheese dip, I might try that one again. I should have used xanthan gum instead of cornstarch, but I was using cornstarch and everything else, so I figured, well, maybe it might work for this, but it doesn't work without heat. So. Okay, that's pretty well mixed in. Okay, so run it through the process again here. So this is cornstarch, which I am using for breading. Did that come? Hang on, I think I gotta fix something here. I think I kept my toothpicks out. You don't want to remove the toothpicks after you're done breading. does this look like on the flip side? Good. Okay. Next we have the egg mixture. Nice and coated. Okay, I might need a little more over here. This one I might go back again. But this stuff sticks just as good, if not better, than real eggs. And this is Bob's Red Mill egg replacer. It was really stuck to my hands when I tried to use it as a whole egg. So that's why I switched down to 2 of the egg whites. But this works a lot better once I've figured out how to use it. Okay. So the other 2 peppers I had to redo. So I mean, I went back and rebreaded them, but I'm gonna put them in now into the fryer. So we're deep frying them. Please make sure you have a lid over this because it will pop, it will splash up in your face, and you do not want to get burnt. So I'm gonna drop one of them in per time. I don't want to overcrowd, but you hear that sizzle? That means it's ready. I'm gonna actually leave it. I can't find my tongs, unfortunately, so I have to use the spatula. But I'm only leaving it in on, I'm going to flip it over in a couple seconds, because it cooks pretty quickly and I don't want it burnt. Flip. Okay, I'm going down with the Olive oil is probably not the oil to use for this. You want to oil with a high smoke point. But this one is really hard to tell when it's boiling, so it's because it doesn't. Yeah, a food thermometer is also a good thing. I couldn't find mine. So test on that. Drop some cornstarch in. You'll know roughly when it's boiling. In fact, I'm going to get this one out. Last one. But I know avocado oil works good for this. Vegetable, I think I've used before. That's probably turned out the best. So turning it off, okay, that's all of them. And let's see, so I'm gonna let them cool down before I dig into them, but I will show a picture of them when they're done, when they're ready. Like the videos, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for your time. These are the peppers, the chili rellenos.